And recording. Hey everyone, it's BlueLizardJello, and welcome to the Forgot to Save podcast, the podcast where we go back and we play the games that had either a significant impact on the industry or maybe just held some meaning to one of us, but for some reason we never got around to playing. And I'm here with my good friend Stone. Stone, how are you?
I am spectacular today. How are you?
I'm doing all right. We record these on Thursday night, which means I have one day of work left, and I actually have a long weekend coming up. I don't know if you get to experience that as well, but I'm pretty stoked.
Awesome. How was your Valentine's Day?
So it was a Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And that's about it. So
Yes, exactly.
I've personally never been one to celebrate, and Moshi doesn't either. And I made doubly sure that there was zero expectation because I would gladly go all in, and there wasn't any. So instead, we did hang out and we watched some Superstore together, a show that hasn't been on in years, but we're a little late to the game, and that was it. That was it. The kids loved it because tons of chocolate and Valentine's from their friends.
Right. Yeah. Wait, Superstore is that one that was like trying to be The Office but a retail store, right?
I guess in a sense, but it's not so much like it's a typical sitcom. It's not the mockumentary style. So just typical sitcom tropes. But it is based in a retail, and it's supposed to be like a departmental, more like a Walmart. But let me tell you, as since we have worked together in a retail store. Yes. There are so many situations in that show where I say they wrote that about our store back in the day.
Yeah, I think I watched the first season of that, but I'm not 100% sure if I did. But yeah, I watched it when it aired, and I was like, this isn't for me, but I get it. But yes, there were definitely some times where I were like, oh, this.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
I've been here.
We've lived that life for better or for worse. Mostly for worse. I can't complain. I enjoyed the job. I did for what it was at the time. I think in my life, that's what I needed.
Sure.
But anyway,
to make teenagers roll their eyes all the time.
Constantly. And that's still my goal.
Sure.
It's a weird goal to have.
I roll now, yeah.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about work or Valentine's Day. Actually,
I'm on the wrong podcast then.
Yeah, we didn't talk before. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, well, I thought this was the Work and V-Day podcast, but
okay, and I thought we were gonna just do the mouth noises with chewing on ice.
You did that, yeah. That was the pre-show. Yeah, for patrons, there will be an exclusive recording of Blue constantly chewing ice and me going, "Are we ready to start?"
In case you didn't know, so when we record these, and after they're edited, they're roughly an hour, some just under, some a little bit longer. We've actually gone as long as an hour and a half. But yeah, for our patrons, every weekly episode is 13 hours long.
Sure. All of these are lies. Also, we don't do exclusive Patreon content. And if we just released the little bit of recording we have before the actual show starts, it's just me talking about a specific subject that recurs.
And he's trying to avoid saying it. But you all know by now.
And then you saying, okay, I'm going to get it this time. And then doing the intro 4 times.
Speaking of the intro.
Nailed it on the first try.
We nailed it on the first try, but not only did I nail it on the first try, which hopefully by now that would come naturally. Stone, last week, you actually did the intro, and you also nailed it on the first try.
Thank you. I'm retiring from the intro forever. When you bat 1,000, you just walk away.
Here's the thing, though. So that's the good. The bad. Last week's episode so far has the lowest view count of any of our podcast episodes yet.
Yes, you're 100% correct, and that's all on me. I think people 100% knew that was the case, and they didn't watch it. Obviously, as regular listeners know, we are recording this 1 month in advance. If you didn't hear from the Happy Valentine's Day at the beginning.
Oh, so you're saying it hasn't aired yet?
The technicality. Yeah, but I'll cut the intro anyway. I'll just start with us talking.
Perfect. Perfect. Oh, goodness gracious. Well,
it's been a busy day at work. But did you play anything?
So I have played a little bit, not a lot of it, but I am still trudging through some early game Dragon's Dogma. And before you ask, no, I haven't hit record. I'm afraid. I have this whole plan in my head. If you listen to last week's episode, I got this whole crazy plan, and I have 5 weeks to pull it off. And I'm so afraid to just, say go.
You want me to shame? I can text you and shame you every day. Would that help? Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Have you ever seen Nathan For You?
Yes.
You remember the episode where he gets that guy? Sorry. He's naked in the hot dog suit.
No. Oh, I haven't seen that one.
He has an episode where he gets people to try to join a weight loss program. And to do it, they have to do something very embarrassing and then post date it to be sent out in the future. And the only way that will not be sent out is to hit your weight loss target and then get a notarized note saying that they can release that and no longer send it. So this lady writes a very scathing message to her boss that is very anti-Semitic, and he's Jewish.
Oh my word.
And she's if she doesn't hit it, then it's going to be given to him. And this other guy is he couldn't think of anything. So Nathan's well, he showed him a picture of what Nathan did, and Nathan laid down naked in a giant hot dog. And the guy was just I'll do that. So I thought of that. You should have something to blackmail yourself with to accomplish your goal.
Does it have to be one of those?
It doesn't. No.
Can it be?
It can, yeah. Preferably not the one that involves anti-Semitism.
Right. There is that, yes. Yeah. No, that's not a terrible... Okay, that's a terrible idea. But actually having a demotivator...
Well, so the thing is, in the episode, she didn't hit her goal. So Nathan hand-delivered the note to her boss, and then she had to explain to her boss, obviously this isn't how I feel, but I had to promote somebody that I respect and would not want to read this, which is why I chose you. And she really wiggled her way out of it, but it was crazy to watch that encounter. But I love that show. Nathan For You is one of the funniest shows they ever made.
It is very good. It is very good. I haven't seen it in a while, so obviously there's some new stuff I need to catch up on.
So anyway, if you need me to shame you into hitting your goal, I can do that.
Please. In fact, if we could I get you and just anyone listening at home to just shame me into doing all the things that I have to do? That's how I function.
Sure.
Is shame and guilt.
Great. Sorry. So Dragon's Dogma, you were preparing.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm actually, if it's cool with you, I'm going to go do that now.
All right. See ya. I'll carry.
We can keep the podcast going.
Yeah.
I can double dip.
Yeah. So you just play. I want to hear noticeable clacking of the thumbsticks as we're talking. And you just constantly go,
yeah. Okay. No, Dragon's Dogma, and the only other one is actually the game from last week, which Ori. Is Ori. Yeah, Ori, and I keep saying, and the Will o' the Wisp, but that's the sequel. We're playing Blind Forest.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure you could start the second. You might be lost. I don't know if the story continues that way. I don't know.
I don't know either. But no spoilers. Not going to share my thoughts, but I will have a bit of a surprise come next week. Let's just put it that way.
The whole episode's in German.
Duh.
You were trying to put off Dragon's Dogma so much you learned another language.
Yeah, that was so. I was I could sit down and record like I said I would, or what if I picked up a new language I've never once experienced?
Hey, look what's over here! Something to distract me.
What's that? Duolingo? All right, you've been harassing me long enough. I'll come back.
I gotta keep up the streak, brother. I can't let it die. It's a new year.
That's it, though. That's really all the time that I've had. But it was a good week. I mean, it was busy with work, but I also, just to share a bit about my personal life, 2 cool things happened. One, this weekend, I took our oldest, our 14-year-old Pro Mini Moshi. We drove to New Hampshire and met up with some other family and just some friends. And we actually hiked one of New Hampshire's 4,000-foot peaks, which... coming from Colorado, okay, fine, not that impressive. Sure. But in New England, I guess, is it New England or just New Hampshire? I don't know. They have what they call the 48 4000s or 48 4Ks, which are 48 peaks over 4,000 foot. And I have some of my family's actually trying to knock off all 48. So we actually got to go do one of those. And it was, despite me actually hiking in the Rocky Mountains, this was one of the hardest hikes I've ever done in my life. It was 8 miles round trip, which is not the longest hike I've ever done. Sure. But it was 3,200 foot elevation, but it was all in the second half. Like the first half of the hike is mostly just walking to the base of the mountain, and then you just stare up and you think, oh crap, I've got snow, sleet, ice, slush. And I've never actually done a winter hike like that where you need to have the shoe spikes on your boots, right, or else you're just going to slip and slide. It was a lot of fun, but it hurt. Like yeah. I was in actual pain by the end of it.
Does he have a lot of experience hiking?
No.
How was he?
Yes, that jerk could have been up to the top and back to ask if we need anything, and then still met us back up at the top. He does track and he does cross country, but he had zero issues whatsoever.
That's awesome.
None. It was absolutely crazy. The other cool story though, and we were just talking about this before. So everyone knows by now that we keep a few animals at home, probably akin to a small zoo. Mm-hmm. And one of our near and dear lizards, Bruce, who is a black and white Argentinian tegu. We've raised him since he was a tiny little baby, had him a couple years, and he's now about 3 foot long, so not so much a baby. In October, I was actually again in New Hampshire for a friend's 40th, and Moshi gave me a call and said, hey, Bruce got out. I was like, okay, fine. Bruce gets out all the time. He just sneaks his little lizard claws in the door and slides it open and gets out, and we find him later that day or the next day. I mean, he's 3 feet long. He can't hide.
Yeah.
Until he could. And then we didn't find him the next day, and I came home the day after that, and we still couldn't find him. And we did our best to tear the house apart, or at least the basement, because he couldn't really get out of there. And we had no idea where he went. And it dawned on us that he found his way somehow into the wall, somehow, and had hunkered down because he's a tropical lizard. They do this thing called brumating, where they essentially shut their body down and go into a deep, cold sleep until it warms up, and they come out and they rehydrate and eat, and they live the rest of their life. So we realized that we're not going to find Bruce the Tegu until Bruce wakes up. And every day that went by, the hope that he was okay in me kind of dwindled, because it's been cold. Yeah. We've gotten some really, really cold days. And then just 2 days ago, the day before Thanksgiving, I am taking care of the animals, and I go into the part of the basement that has the utility sink to fill it up, and there's big stupid Bruce at the bottom of the basement stairs, just laying there like, hey,
I'm
morning.
Thirsty, by the way, yeah.
Right, yeah, little parched. We found out, though, this little bugger, under the utility sink, it's kind of raised on this frame of 2x4s, mm-hmm. and I didn't realize this, but there's some sort of hole in the foundation where the previous owners just kind of pushed a lot of like fill and sand, and Bruce found it and dug a burrow into it and awesome. Slept there for 4 months.
He's got it made, man. That's awesome.
So Bruce is back.
It's awesome for him. Yeah.
Bruce is back, and this will be a great time to plug our Discord. So the BlueLizardJello Discord, link in the description. We do have a dedicated Forgot to Save channel where you can talk to us about the latest episodes, or even better, recommend games. Mm-hmm. But also, we have a lot of cool channels, including a cute pets channel where Bruce will occasionally make an appearance. So go ahead and head on in.
Yeah, he looks cool. Not a reptile guy, personally, but I like Bruce.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's a cool, chill, giant lizard kind of guy. But enough about me. What about what kind of lizards have you had pop up in your house?
Sure, tons of lizard. Big lizard guy. You know that about me. All the snow outside has brought all the lizards inside. That's a constant in my life. No, it has been snowing, unfortunately. We have a winter storm nearby, so we're getting a little bit of that. Nothing unreasonable. Roads have been pretty clear. But as far as what I've been playing, it's two things. One, say it with me, Persona 3.
Persona 3
Yeah,
Reloaded.
Exactly. Persona 3 Reload, yeah.
Reload
And,
present tense.
yeah, they get weird with the tense sometimes. And then the other one is a little unexpected. Had a buddy that wanted to do randomizer, of course. So I was like, you know what? I'm in the mood for Majora's Mask. That would be super fun for the multi-world randomizer. Unfortunately, Majora's Mask is not one of the options on the randomizer. So I was like, I'll play Ocarina of Time. It can't be that different. It should scratch the same itch. Upon booting it up, I realized that I remember 0 things about Ocarina of Time, and I'm also awful at it, and it does not translate well to PC because of all the dead zones on an N64 controller. I have a USB to N64 adapter, but I am using, it's called a Brawler 64, if you look it up. It's kind of like an Xbox style N64 controller,
okay.
And I really like playing with it on my N64 console, but the stick is just like way too sensitive on the emulator. So half the time I have been tweaking my control stick, and then half the time I have been failing to beat any of the dungeons in Zelda. Now, the other thing I elected to do, because I'm so confident in my gaming prowess, there is an option on Multiworld where you can death link, which means that everyone that opts into the death link option, when one of them dies, everyone dies. I am terrible at it, but one of the other people are playing Hollow Knight.
Which
nice. Is a game where even if you're very skilled, when you don't have all the upgrades constantly available to you, you are dying quite often. So I have eaten it a few times as a result of them going to a boss fight ill-equipped, but I have yet to send them a death, which I'm very proud of. As terrible as I am at Ocarina of Time, I am not the reason that he's dying. So that's refreshing. But those were my big two. I had a really busy week at work, but luckily today marks the end of it. I'm just trying to relax. And you know what? I'm actually very excited for an event this weekend, the Streamer Awards. Do you watch them at all?
I've never watched them, only because I've been snuffed every year.
Oh, right. I did actually vote for you one year. Fun fact. The first year. I think it was a sole streamer, in fact. I think Distortion ended up winning the first year. I don't remember.
Which is ridiculous.
Okay.
I mean, Dis is fine. Lobos, they're fine. A lot. But come on. I have streamed like 3 times in the last 12 months.
Yeah. Well, you do need a minimum of 100 hours, so I didn't do it this year. But, I'm a big fan of Cutie Cinderella, who throws the events. So, so is my wife. We watch a lot of. She does like cooking streams sometimes, where she'll bake along, or she puts like events on that are like fun to bring a bunch of streamers together and stuff. So we're really looking forward to it. We were gonna celebrate our Valentine's this weekend, so we're like, I got her a gift and stuff on Valentine's Day and flowers. And then this weekend, we're just gonna have dinner and then watch the Streamer Awards all night.
That sounds fun. I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. See, I could get on board with that kind of Valentine's.
My wife loves Valentine's Day, and she is obviously a big advocate for, obviously Valentine's doesn't have to just represent romantic love. It's just a time to appreciate people. So she gets very into Valentine's.
You have mentioned that before. So did the guinea pigs get anything?
They did not yet. She got them a new toy that they have to figure out, and she is also reconfiguring their cage a little bit, but she's waiting. She usually cleans it on Friday, so they're going to get new stuff tomorrow.
It's fun when you actually redo an animal's cage like that, especially really curious and inquisitive animals like guinea pigs, because it's completely new to them, and it's this whole new level of stimulation. It's really
they run
really
around and they scream, and it's very funny. But also, so we have a 2-tiered cage, and they have like a little loft area, And for some reason, when it's time to clean, even if she removes the bedding and stuff from the top, they'll always sprint up to the top, right? And then she takes away the ramp. So like she'll try to pick them up for the pen first, but they sprint down. So she takes away the ramp to like keep them up there. And for some reason, always when she's picking up the ramp to take it off, one of them will sprint across the ramp and then jump to the floor below. She constantly has to stop them. But they think it's like, yes, it's time for the diving board. But they're ridiculous creatures. But
they are.
The great thing about guinea pigs is they're social. They want to be with you. It's fun.
Right.
They will also harass you constantly to get fed, but they're not intimidating.
No, they're not. So we don't have guinea pigs. We do have a bunny, and I was actually really impressed today. So first off, the bunny, it has a cage. It's actually just a really big dog crate, but we haven't closed that cage in, gosh, we've had the bunny now for a year and a half. We haven't closed it in probably 10 months. So it comes and goes as it pleases. It's not destructive at all. But today, for the first time, he's not, I wouldn't say he's a friendly, sociable, like he wants to be around you. He will kind of follow you around at times. But today, when I was giving her water and fresh food and all this, I was sitting down and I just held my hand out. And for the first time, she actually came over, she sniffed me, and then she put her head down and like pushed it under my hand. Like, hey, I need some loves here. I need some attention. It was so cool. Like, oh my God, I'll scratch you for as long as you want. And I did, and it absolutely loved it.
You had chinchillas for a while too, right?
I did.
Did they like being pet?
They can, but chinchillas just have so much energy.
Yeah.
That getting them to sit still is a chore.
Sure.
And they're so dusty.
Yeah, they take dust baths regularly.
They do.
They like to hold things.
They do. Oh my word! They just sit there and just hold them, and it's just like they're little people.
Great. What animals?
What podcast is this again? I'm sorry. So Persona 3 Reload.
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something, and without you judging, or just judge but quietly?
Literally always. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned the dead zone on your controller.
Right.
Can I be honest? That's a term I see every day. And it's that whole Chris Pratt meme of, at this point, I'm too afraid to ask.
Pretty easy. You can boil it down pretty. It's just, how far does the stick have to move before an action is registered?
Oh, okay.
So on the N64, it's really bad.
Okay.
It's most notable on that noticeable on that concert. Oh my gosh, on that console.
I gotcha.
I'm done. All right. Thanks for today's episode.
Thanks for nothing.
You'll pretty much notice on the N64. If you're playing a modern console, it's pretty negligible. Unless you're getting very serious with like a multiplayer first-person shooter or something like that. A dead zone is nothing that you will consciously be aware of.
Okay.
The exception is, highly competitive, ultra precision stuff that you're not using a mouse for some reason, and the N64 where it is incredibly noticeable. I mean, you as a child, I'm sure, noticed it. If you have ever played Ocarina of Time, the miserable experience that is trying to aim the slingshot or the bow in the first person, and it takes you can't get it precise no matter what you do. That's the dead zone on the N64. It's pretty brutal.
All right. That makes sense.
Yep. So just kind of think of it as like time to activation, if you want to call it something else.
Which makes sense why, again, if you're using something with higher sensitivity and you're used to that amount of dead zone. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it takes a little bit to tune because every controller is different too. So when you fire it up on an emulator, you have to try to get it as close to being comfortable for you and also acceptable within the N64's limits. So it's not as easy as like turn the dead zone down, you know?
So speaking of games, and this isn't my list. This isn't
legendary transition, bro.
Speaking of gaming peripherals for which you use to then play. I'm not going over my list yet.
Sure.
Actually, I haven't written it, so I still need more time.
You write it live.
I'm doing it right now.
You have Dragon's Dogma on one screen, a notepad on the other.
In fact, there's only one game you can choose, It's Dragon's Dogma.
Oh, easy choice. Deep Down.
No, I don't do that. I'll play Deep Down just as soon as I finish Scalebound.
Sure.
All right.
That's a fair trade.
No, but actually, hey, speaking of Microsoft, did you watch their event today?
I got the cliff notes. I didn't care enough. I haven't been invested in what I will refer to as drama because serious people aren't talking on this issue, you know?
Yeah.
It's this story is nothing to me. I don't care enough.
That's because it is a nothing story.
I don't think it weakens Xbox's brand.
No,
I know a
of course
lot of people are saying like, oh, losing exclusivities, blah, blah. I agree that a console needs to stay in the market so that there is competition, but I don't think offloading some of their brands, some of their exclusive titles is that big a deal, especially when they acquired Bethesda, which famously has multi-platform stuff. There are now always going to be some Xbox titles that are now multi-platform because they own Activision Blizzard, because they own Bethesda, and I think doing a timed exclusive on an Xbox console, even for a year, I think will still give people the incentive to buy the consoles as long as they're competitive. I think people are reacting too late to this news anyway. If Xbox was no longer having exclusive titles, it doesn't matter. The seeds were already planted way back when they announced Game Pass. Like, your time to protest was then. The wheels are already in motion if that's the case. They're not, because they're actively working on new hardware, but it's reactive. I said this before, but like the allegiance that people have to gaming companies is baffling, and everything they do as a result is reactionary. So it's what is the market today, not knowing that these companies are making these decisions years ahead of time, months ahead of time. Everything is done in quarters, you know? So it's like...
Yeah, Phil didn't wake up last Wednesday. He's like, hey guys, quick huddle.
Yeah, and I feel like we even briefly had this conversation with like The Last of Us canceling its multiplayer. They didn't just decide like, oh, we're losing money, cut it off this week, you know? Sorry, the things we're seeing now are decisions that were made in 2021, you know?
Right, yeah. No, and honestly... So when I heard Phil or read Phil's tweet last week about we've heard you and we're going to put this together, first off, my initial reaction was, what did you hear?
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard a whole lot.
It seemed pandering to me, yeah.
Right. Did you put your phone number out there? Because I just don't know where that's coming from. And then so I was intrigued, and so obviously his tweet worked because I was at least curious.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it either because it was during work and I just couldn't swing it. But I read the cliff notes as well, and I read it and thought this really was more than any other gaming event I've ever been witness to. The epitome of this could have been an email.
Yeah. It really was, but I tip my hat to Phil Spencer here because it was very clearly we are making the Xbox the star of the news this week. Even if we have nothing to say, let's say it in the public. And I like, yeah, that's 100% not a joke either. Like, no publicity is bad publicity. People are talking Xbox, and there is nothing but some weird internet drama in very exclusive circles. So him saying like, oh, we've heard you, like him is just like, okay, we'll take the spotlight for a second. And there's no losing. No matter what he said, there was no losing. Even if they were like, all of our IPs are no longer exclusive. Like, you know, they get as many winners on other consoles as they do, quote, losers on the, you know, pushing for exclusive crowd. It is just so nothing. I can't get over how nothing it is.
And that's what it was. It was nothing. So, okay, they did announce that 4 titles that are current exclusives are going to be going to other platforms. They didn't state what titles, although look around the internet and you can find that out very, very easily.
Right.
Including a title that we recently featured on the Forgot to Save podcast.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But yeah,
that's
4
what sparked
titles.
This whole thing.
Right. So wait, is our was he listening to our podcast?
Oh, no,
and that's what
absolutely
he meant?
not our podcast. Hi Fi
No,
Rush.
I think it might have been.
For sure. Philly, give us a call, brother.
Phil, if you want to be a guest speaker, Yeah, we really don't cost that much for you to come join us.
Do you remember during COVID when he did that podcast appearance in Animal Crossing?
Nope, sure don't.
Yeah,
What?
someone was like hosting a podcast in Animal Crossing, and Phil was like talking about how much he's been playing Animal Crossing. So they invited him onto this Animal Crossing podcast, and he did it as his Animal Crossing character.
I mean, cool. I guess good for him. You know, being approachable.
Yeah, people always think like the CEO will only play their company's title. And Phil is just very publicly like, I like games.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if some of these execs are to be believed, they really do play everything.
Yeah, that's why I love Sakurai at the head of Smash. Oh, by the way, Smash update just happened.
I heard something about a Sora amiibo.
That's literally all it adds. But there's going to be another Spirit event. So they haven't announced what yet, but it's coming. That's all.
Wait, coming tomorrow? Was it every Friday?
Every other Friday.
Every other Friday. Okay. Gotcha. So Xbox event, there was something else. Oh,
sorry.
So speaking of the... No, you're good. This is how this podcast goes. We just ramble.
Bring Bruce on.
Bruce, get me. No, he's finally in bed for the night. But speaking of the Xbox event, the other thing that I found interesting, and these are just rumors, but we talked last time about the Nintendo Direct that was supposed to be happening, and I saw a couple different sources say that Nintendo was actually supposed to have one today, and they canceled it due to the Xbox event. I don't know if you heard anything about that.
I don't believe it, because Nintendo has a tendency to never care ever. Everyone schedules their stuff around Nintendo. And I don't think that this Xbox event was planned far enough in advance for that to be the case. Or Nintendo would deem it even as important enough to reschedule their thing. I think that's I haven't seen a source on that. And unless I see a super reliable source, that just sounds like weird Twitter hearsay to me.
So look, I don't want to say you're wrong, and I don't want to come off as insensitive, but I don't think that the Queen's passing was planned all that far in advance, and they did cancel a direct for that.
But do you remember why that event was taking place?
The Queen's passing?
No, yes, that one. That wasn't a script. No, why was that Nintendo Direct happening? What was the featured title? They were
Netflix original series, The Queen's Gambit?
Kind of. They were announcing the name of the second Breath of the Wild
shoot.
game. What was the name of that game?
Tears of the Kingdom.
That's why they delayed it. They don't care about the Queen. It would have been extremely insensitive to announce, and the name of the game is Tears of the Kingdom. Rest in peace,
what if
Lizzie.
the name of the new game they were going to announce was Xbox exclusivity? So, you know,
that they would have definitely postponed for that too. Yeah.
Should we start this podcast over? Let's just start this episode over. Do you mind?
Swap me in with Bruce.
Wait, how you're okay? He doesn't have a headset.
Is it that important?
He's also for as big as he is, he's like the quietest animal.
Well, yeah, you couldn't find him for 4 months.
Right? I mean, I've got little geckos and a frog in this room that make more noise than that giant. My stupid tortoise makes more noise. That's just because he likes to knock his. He's always just driving me crazy.
Okay, I thought of a gaming thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
I briefly thought of this earlier and was like, if we really have time, I'll ask it. I got some video recommended to me. I didn't watch it, but the title of the video or the thumbnail was something along the lines of like, these 10 games need a reboot, or like these games need to be brought back, or something like that, or like revive these dead series. So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What dead series would you revive if you could do any right now?
Ooh, okay.
And not any that currently have any rumors of coming back.
Sure.
Like dead.
Sure. Okay. So the one that really and truly comes to mind, and I feel like this is almost a cop-out because I see this on every list ever, Dino Crisis. I would absolutely love And there was a rumor years ago, but it never came to fruition. And maybe it's still out there. But seeing what they've done with the Resident Evil remakes,
sure,
I would love to see a modern day take on Dino Crisis.
Yeah, I think
we need good dinosaur games.
I think that's why the new Jurassic Park Survive game is so intriguing.
It's not gonna be though.
I don't think it's not Dino Crisis, but I think it's a concept we need.
Yeah. No, dinosaur. I don't understand how there aren't more good dinosaur games out there. What is there not to love about that?
I agree completely. The last attempt was that Capcom Exo Primal, I think it was called.
Exo Primal, which I played one of the super early, content creator betas, and it was fine, but it was just literal hordes of dinosaurs rushing you while you play an Overwatch type PvE VP.
I feel like the best recent dinosaur game, and I'm very much stretching dinosaur here, is Horizon.
Sure, yeah. I'm on board with that.
I mean, you could very, very loosely say Monster Hunter, but I think they're so fantasy, you can't call it dinosaur. Like, what's the pickle one? He's the closest one.
Devil Joe.
Yeah. He's like the closest like true dinosaur, I think.
Well, I don't know. Anjanath is pretty much T-Rex.
I completely forgot Anjanath. You're right. But yeah, there's no good you're right. Not even revive Dino Crisis, revive dinosaur titles altogether. Bring back Turok. I never played it, but now I want it. I want more dinosaurs.
Beware Oblivion is at hand is a code from Turok Dinosaur Hunter that for some reason I have that as memorized as up, down, left, right. Like it is a quintessential code. So here's what they need to do. Stop with the dinosaur movies because let's face it, Jurassic Park is dead to me. And the fact that they just announced another one is appalling.
And the new Godzilla does not look excellent if you ask me.
Okay, it doesn't. It's going to be really, really stupid. But I'm excited. But, I know I shouldn't be.
Specify, we do not mean -1. We mean Godzilla Kong.
Are you kidding? Did you see -1, by the way?
I'm waiting. I want to so badly.
It's unbelievable.
I love Shin Godzilla. And I don't even care if it's a direct sequel or not. If the same people are working on it, I want it.
It blows Shin Godzilla out of the water. I'm sorry, it does.
Well, it's a different... I mean, Shin Godzilla was like... poking at the bureaucracy of dealing with Godzilla. So I understand. Right. Yeah. No,
it is just a phenomenal movie. I cannot wait until it comes out and I can watch it on black and white. I would go see it again in black and white, but just finding time to go to the movies is very difficult. So we got out to see it once. It was in color, and then they announced black and white, and I thought, darn you, should have waited. But it's going to be really cool. What were we... Oh, dinosaurs. So take the budget from all these stupid, terrible dinosaur movies coming, 65 with Adam Driver. What kind of contractual obligation did he have to be in that movie?
That's rough.
Take that budget, and instead of making these bad, give me 5 just really solid dinosaur games, please. Sure. I beg of you. And it can be one can be a survival, and one can be like a Resident Evil style, where it's more horror. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah,
but no one's making them.
Dinosaurs.
Yes, exactly. Among Us, but dinosaurs. Phasmophobia, but dinosaurs.
Oh, that would be brutal. Oh, yeah. There is actually, maybe we should try this in our free time. There is a dinosaur game that's been on my wish list for a while. It's a multiplayer dinosaur game called The Isle.
I thought Steam. You were going to say Stomping Lands, and I was about to shake you.
I missed it. No, I think it's called The Isle. I believe it's like a multiplayer kind of Rust-type survival game, but you play as dinosaurs, to my knowledge.
What?
Yeah.
Hold on. It's from 2015.
Well, it's in early access, so I think they're still working on it.
It's still in early access 8 years late, 9 years later?
That's how you know it's good. That's 9 years of development.
I want to know when the last Okay, never mind. Devblog number 44, Wednesday, January 31st, 2024.
Pretty
it
good.
Is still going
We're within
strong.
2 weeks of that update, so.
And very positive with 69,000 reviews.
People want to play as dinosaurs. Are you listening, Xbox?
That's what your event should have been. I want to be a Dilophosaurus.
So there you
All
go.
right, so post in the comments if you want us to play the Isle
Everyone's
from now on.
favorite dinosaurs in the comments.
Oh my word. We have just gone into so many squirrels? Is it rabbit holes? Squirrels don't have
Bruce
Never
holes.
mind. Not We have followed the Bruce hole to its very conclusion. So how about my list?
Yeah.
All right. Let me drink a little water. Okay. So here's the thing with my list. Here's what you got to understand.
A caveat. Perfect.
The little caveat. Your list last week was so fun.
Thank you for
Not
saying
just
that.
the game selection. The game selections were top notch, but your presentation really, really elevated our podcast.
Like a good dish.
Right. And the problem is I thought it was maybe a little bit too groundbreaking, so I needed to bring us back a little bit into normality.
The scales need to be balanced.
So my list is still...
But you will be presenting it in German. That's why you
in
learned German.
Duh. Yes, duh. Okay. So basically my list is still, it's just going to be more straightforward. In fact, I don't even really have them broken down like into categories so much. I have a theme.
Yeah.
I have a theme. And this theme, I've actually had this in my head kind of from the beginning. But I wanted to get some others kind of out there first.
The theme is dinosaurs.
The games... The games don't feature... In fact, do any of these feature dinosaurs? No, I don't believe so.
All right. Thanks for nothing.
This category is essentially games that aren't really games, or games that are barely games, or the eponymous term might be walking simulators.
Oh, I was going to say, when you say games that aren't really games, what a boring way to sell somebody on a list.
Yeah.
Well,
So
walking
what
simulators are fine. They're stories.
I have Notepad is one. I have Excel is another.
You're just sending me to do odd jobs. This is a grocery list for you.
Here's the thing. I actually just have this to-do list and I am swamped. So
This one just says become an Uber driver. What is that?
So I actually enjoy games that have a more casual appeal from time to time.
Sure.
Even if games that you don't do a whole lot in. Now, one of the games that come to mind when I think walking simulator, it's not on this list, is Death Stranding. Sure. It is realistically 50% walking around making deliveries for approval. I mean, you are essentially paid in likes, okay?
But even that has some light combat.
There is some light combat. And then there's about 40% is cutscenes. So 90% you're not doing much of anything except maybe walking. And yet it sucked me in so strongly. And I actually found the mapping of the deliveries and using the terrain for your advantage and conquering different environmental obstacles very, very appealing. So I thought, what about other games where walking and just kind of casually exploring is the foundation of the game? So I looked at a bunch of different lists and I found 8 games where at least just walking around is the center point, even though some of these do have some more gameplay elements, even some have some light combat, but they're all fairly unique from one another, and they range from as short as an hour up to about, I think, 11 is the longest.
Sure.
So,
I am expecting either the Stanley Parable or the Witness to be on this list.
Okay. All right. Fair. So I'm just going to go through and I just have, I have 3 things. 1, I tell you where we walk around. 2, I give you just an idea of what you do as you walk around. And then 3, something that the game is known for.
So this is a travel brochure to my menu.
That's that. There you go. We're going to use this to travel to a world where we will feast on Ori and the Blind Forest.
Sure. We are planning my vacation this week.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
I am.
All right. Good. So this first one, and I'm going to just change up the order just ever so slightly.
Sure.
In this game, you walk around a forest in Wyoming. You investigate some rather strange occurrences, and it's actually really well known for its voice performances and very natural sounding conversations. Not a lot to it. Do you want to attempt to guess during, or do you want to do it at the end?
I like guessing during.
Okay.
I will wait a second for people to get their guesses in. This one I don't think I have an answer for.
Okay.
So I'm not even going to bother. Hit me with the next
So
one.
I'm going to go with the All right.
The woods of Wyoming.
The woods of, walking around a forest in Wyoming. It's actually a national park in Wyoming.
Firewatch. Okay.
In this next game, you walk around an underwater. Why did the national park give that away?
What?
Why did national park give that away?
What do you mean? It was Firewatch?
Yes.
Of course.
I said a forest in Wyoming. You're like, I have no idea. Well, it's actually a national park. Oh, it's Firewatch.
Somebody's got to protect a national park. Delinquents could be in a forest, but forest rangers are in a national park.
Oh,
I love the National Park Service.
Gave it away, Blue.
Yeah.
Gave it away. All right. In
Try and
this one,
stop me.
you walk around an underwater research facility with conscious machines. You engage in exploration, puzzle solving, and stealth, and this game is known for its creatures that you encounter all embody various themes that the game espouses.
Oh, the last one got me because originally I thought this was Inside.
Okay.
But that final thing did not. The various creatures, the game, I'm not sure, actually, of this. Does it take place in a national park? Because I know all the national park games.
Name every national park. Go.
Okay.
Wrong. Bryce National Park.
Yellowstone.
Bryce Canyon? Bryce Canyon. Zion? I don't know.
Yellowstone. Grand Canyon.
I could go on.
Yeah. Let's try and
There's
stop
at
me.
least two others. Try and stop.
The redwoods in California. Don't know what that's exactly called.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
The
this
next one.
Underwater facility.
Okay.
These are the
Underwater
shape of water
research
the
facility.
Game. Yeah.
It shouldn't be. In this game, you walk around an island off of the coast of Washington State.
Oh my God.
Investigating. There's a whole lot of like specific U.S. locations in this list.
The nature is very different. You get very different trees on the West Coast than you do on the East Coast. You know this.
I do know this. I've experienced this. I also realized that I have a typo on my list, and I said Washington, which is very Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah, Washington.
I hate it. Italian.
So walk around an island off of the coast of Washington State, investigating a family curse and untimely deaths. Known for being, and this is actually a direct quote from a review, known for being touching, sad, and brilliant. A story worth forgiving the limited interactivity to experience.
I believe that this is one of the modern grandfathers of this genre, Edith Finch.
So that would be What Remains of Edith Finch?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Is it? No, I guess it's. Okay.
Next one, walking around an office, pushing buttons, known for its fourth wall breaking and ridiculous achievements in Steam.
Sure. What else could this be? The Stanley Parable.
That's right. This is Amnesia.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Sorry. This game, you walk around an island. We don't know where it takes place. It's probably Oregon or something. Walk around an island listening to letters, and it's known for its exquisitely detailed environments.
Ooh. Listening to letters. I feel like I've seen this. It's not immediately coming to me, so I won't waste time. Let's go to the next.
All right. And I have, is it just one more? No, I have two more. Okay. Walk around Wisconsin now. All right. Back to the Midwest.
Yeah. Very Western U.S. focused.
Using paranormal abilities to recreate events anytime you come across a dead body. And this game, and this was really cool, it is known for using photogrammetry to create the in-game environment. Do you know what that is?
When you scan an environment and then recreate it in 3D?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So they actually went on location to where this wanted to be in Wisconsin, and they took photos and they had aerial shots and everything, and they wanted it to be like if you were there, you would actually recognize this place, which is pretty cool. Right? Love that.
I believe I've seen this game played. It's like the one I'm thinking of is like kind of has some like Roman architecture and themes. So I don't know if it's like historical. I think that is like split between different time periods. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to say it's probably not that actually. Ignore me. Paranormal investigation, I do not know.
Okay. All right. And let's see. I read out of order to confuse you, which makes no sense because you haven't seen the list.
It's all the same.
So why did I do this? Sure. Which one haven't I read? And okay, just one more. So in this game, you walk around rural Oregon.
Oh my God! Nothing on the East Coast, man.
Nothing good happens over here.
Amen, brother.
Investigating a missing family. This game is known for its realistic and engrossing story, but it has also been very heavily questioned at whether or not this should even be considered a game.
Whoa, okay.
Yep. There was some backlash on this one.
Wait, you are actually walking around?
Yes.
Because I know there was that game recently where you're just watching a bunch of like interrogation films and stuff, but I don't know if there's a component where you walk around in that. I don't know. I actually don't know this one, no. So this is the list, right?
So this is the list.
All right.
This is the list. Should I go through them all again real quick?
Yeah, there's Firewatch, an underwater facility.
Yep.
There was the island in Wyoming.
A forest in... So Wyoming was the national park.
Oh, Washington was the island.
Yep. Washington island off of Washington. Yep.
And that was dead bodies you're investigating? Oh, no.
No,
sorry.
Yeah, when you're on the island off of Washington, you're investigating a family curse and their untimely deaths.
Sure. Wow. Okay. And then there was the one in the Midwest where it was the actual locations where you're investigating dead bodies.
Yep. So that one was Wisconsin, and using paranormal abilities and the photogrammetry was used to recreate the location in game.
Mm-hmm.
You also had that was not the Stanley Parable.
No, I know the other Stanley Parable was the next one.
Well, then there was one where you walk around an office and you push buttons. If that's what you're referring to, then yes, that is on the list.
Frequently breaks the fourth wall. Yeah.
Yeah, with really silly achievements.
And then the final one was an island in Oregon where you... sorry.
So there's a couple more. There's still walking around an island where you just listen to letters, and it's known for its exquisitely detailed environments. And then walking around rural Oregon where you investigate a missing family, and it's known for its realistic, engrossing story, but also many question whether or not it should even be considered a game.
Okay. I'm going to strike that one.
Okay.
But what was that?
That one was Gone Home.
Oh, that is... Oh, yes. That is the one I was thinking of, not Edith Finch. I have beaten this game.
Oh, okay.
So I would have struck that regardless.
All right.
The other one, the landscapes sound very cool, recreating real landscapes, but I'm not so interested in investigating dead bodies.
Okay.
So I'm going to strike that.
That was Vanishing of Ethan Carter.
Okay. Another one I've definitely heard of. I don't... all right, the remaining ones. Give me the titles of the remaining ones, if you don't mind.
Okay. So this one really, really threw you off, but the one in the office is the Stanley Parable.
Oh, I should have known that.
Yeah. You were close, though. You kept saying Firewatch, and no, that's different.
Right, yeah.
So there's the Stanley Parable.
Right.
The one where you walk around an island and you just listen to letters and it's got beautiful environments, that is Dear Esther.
Oh, right. Yes. I'm familiar with Dear Esther.
Oh, Stone, I screwed up.
Huh.
I have one on my list that somehow I just realized I didn't put a description for, so I didn't give it to you.
Okay.
So hold on. I have to make something up on the fly.
Sure.
We got this. Okay. In this game, you
Location
walk around
first.
right, because you walk around a small English village, and all the inhabitants have mysteriously disappeared. In the game, you interact with floating lights, which help to reveal part of the story. And this game is well known for being a beautiful and heartbreaking journey into the end of the world.
Oh. Yeah, I don't like isolation, so I'm going to scratch that.
I'm not sure any of these are going to be for you, because I'm pretty sure all these focus heavily on the isolation.
Well, here's the thing. There are ones where you're isolated, but everyone's not dead, which is a big plus for me.
Fair. Okay. That one is Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Oh, that's supposed to be like a little bit more comedic, too.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I believe so.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I remember all of these from like the time they were announced, or like seeing other people play. Yeah,
and this was actually made by the same developers as Dear Esther.
Okay.
The next one, walking around a forest in Wyoming. You've already guessed it, Firewatch. And then we have Underwater Facility, where the creatures, they embody various themes from the game. That's Soma.
Soma.
Yeah, so this one, it's the longest game. It's 9 to 11 hours, and this one definitely has the most gameplay of anything on this list, and certainly leans into the horror aspect.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah. All right.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. And then the last one, you did get it. What Remains of Edith Finch. Walking around an island off of Washington, investing in a family curse. Touching, sad, and brilliant story worth forgiving the limited interactivity to experience.
Sure. Yeah, so Edith Finch, I'm going to say no on.
Okay.
I'm really debating between Firewatch, Stanley Parable, and Dear Esther.
Okay. And you haven't played any of those?
I have not. Firewatch and Stanley Parable have been on my to-play list for a while, actually. But I am very intrigued by a deep amount of lore scattered throughout the world. Oh, this is tough. It's tough. I think it's been so long that I have to try Stanley Parable.
Okay. Stanley Parable.
Right, there's not a world at this point. It's like embarrassing if you haven't played it.
Yeah, and I haven't.
Yeah. I finally have to do it. It's time for Stanley Parable, I think.
It's time. I mean, that's kind of the nature of this podcast, right?
I also sorry.
I was just going to say it's, we do different things and we do different riffs on it, but ultimately, Forgot to Save is about playing games that we always meant to get around to. And I think we can both safely say Stanley Parable fits that bill perfectly.
Yeah. And I like the idea of it being slightly more uplifting. If not, I know it's like a meta commentary as well, so I'm sure it will be drab, but
yes,
I know it has a lot of comedy injected into it as well. So yeah, I'm interested in seeing which way that goes. I've heard great things about Firewatch. I remember when it came out, them very heavily pushing it and it getting really good reviews.
Yes.
I had not heard so much about Dear Esther. I remember it coming out and I remember it getting decent reviews because, I mean, all these games are part of like a dedicated community that plays a lot of these walking simulators, People that like one usually play all of them.
Sure.
I really do like a lot of world building, though, through like a minimum amount of, obstacles in the way, if that makes sense. Like it's easy to find, but it's very deep. So that intrigued me, but yeah, I just can't say no to Stanley Parable here.
Sure. And I'm just looking at it now, and there is an ultra deluxe version.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know when. Oh, this just came out in 2022. So originally, Stanley Parable came out in 2013. I did not realize that just 2 years ago they put out another edition with even more content. Huh. So that's fascinating.
I was confident that I even already had this game, but I do not.
Yeah, I don't either.
Okay. So I'm interested. I feel like these 2 games for our 2 weeks are like the definitely long-term stuff on my playlist that I'm going to clear out of the backlog.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Both these games have been on it for a while.
And I have to say, so, one of the things that I always like to look at when I'm making this list, just because I want an idea, is the whole how long to beat.
Yeah.
And Stanley Parable, it can be played in an hour and a half.
Sure.
But there's a lot of replayability and different choices to make, different paths. But even a completionist apparently is only about 3 hours. So kind of refreshing to have something on the shorter end where we can, possibly play through multiple times and really have a strong discussion about this.
Is that the deluxe edition?
There might be a difference. I didn't take notice. I will have to look into that for when we play it.
Yeah. I'm so intrigued by this. I'm aware that it's something that promotes multiple playthroughs. I'm also aware that, as far as I understand it, this is a game that has a narrator that tells you the next thing to do, and you can be defiant toward it, and that changes the course of the game, or you can choose to follow it, which changes the course of the game. But I think this is a big game for achievement hunters because it's so approachable in its replayability. So I think that's why it took off in its popularity. But this is all speculation on my end.
But you say that about achievement hunters, but I believe there's actually an impossible to get achievement.
Not
and
impossible.
They did that just to irk people.
Yes, people have just gotten it. But for those that don't know, there is an achievement to play Stanley Parable for the first time after 10 years, I believe. So you have to have a save game, not touch it for 10 years, and then go back to it.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think the first round of people just got theirs. Because you said it's a 2013 game. So
that is really funny.
That's cool.
I'm excited. I'm glad you picked Stanley Parable. I also would have been absolutely thrilled with Firewatch. I haven't played it, but I did see Miniature Nerd, one of my favorite content creators out there. He introduced me to this game back when it first came out, and he played, I think he did like 3 episodes, and he didn't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
He actually chose to say, this is a game definitely worth experiencing. And I've wanted to ever since, but that was 8 years ago, and have yet to get to it.
Yeah, I think the great thing with this is there's not a bad experience lined up with any of these. Like, these are all highly rated for good reason.
Sure.
It's not about the gameplay, it's about the story it tells, which, honestly, that's the same draw for me with RPGs, except the stories are told over 50 hours instead of 5, So,
yeah,
it's the same.
And that's what I want to see what this does. So in 3 hours, what can Stanley Parable accomplish? And would it benefit from being longer? Is this the right time frame? I don't know. I have so many questions that I am already asking myself, and I haven't even, installed the game yet.
Sure. A part of me was also like, oh, maybe Life is Strange is on this list, forgetting that in our last iteration of Forgot to Save, we played Life is Strange.
We did, in fact, play Life is Strange.
Yeah.
Maybe we should watch our own podcast.
Absolutely not. I've genuinely considered deleting it. I have actually considered just deleting it off the face of the earth. But yeah, no, I am excited. These are slower paced games, which is great because we're both coming off of busy weeks anyway.
Right. Yes. Yep. So this is cool. So we have. They're not diametrically opposed, but we have Ori and the Blind Forest, which is a very bright and whimsical, fantastical platforming Metroidvania. And then we have the Stanley Parable, where we're going to walk around in an abandoned office building and see what's that all about. It's I don't know. It's a really fun dichotomy.
Sure, yeah. We always have the benefit of creating a list after we've seen the other person's, which is great. Sure. So we can kind of set the opposite tone. But I believe, and you're the one currently playing through it, so you can tell me, but I had read that Ori gets very challenging. So even if it starts very relaxing and whimsical, I'm sure it's going to ramp up very soon.
Yeah. And one thing, I'm going to spoil one little thing,
sure, please.
And I will certainly talk about it. It's minor. I normally play on the hardest difficulty, and Ori does have difficult. Have you started it at all?
Not yet. I downloaded it, but I haven't played.
So the hardest difficulty, technically, is you only get 1 life.
Oh.
Yeah. So I didn't do that, thankfully. I did the one just below that. I died in 5 minutes and have died many, many times since. So really glad I didn't choose that option.
You're learning.
I'm not.
You.
You know what though? Taint away.
Sure. Well,
that's not how I want to end the podcast.
Next week is Ori, so we will be going in depth. If you guys have started already, let us know what you think. Name your favorite dinosaurs in the comments, please. We need.
That's not a joke. Name your favorite dinosaur.
Please do.
Also, do your research, because so help me, if you name something that's not actually a dinosaur,
right,
we're gonna have words.
If you name the devil Hio, is that its name from Monster
I've always
Hunter?
said Devil Joe, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, if you name that, we'll know you cheated. Okay, so watch out. Okay, we got a dinosaur expert here. Yeah, and game suggestions. Game suggestions are a huge thing. I have, in my list, I have 2 game suggestions that came from other people, and I'm thinking of a way to work them in to next
Which is so
month.
super cool. Yes.
Which, again, I'm not worrying about right now because we have 2 games to play, but still, get them in while you can. We will see these results in a month, so don't expect the games to appear immediately, but know that we have them working on the back end. We're excited to hear more. Drop into the Discord. You can talk about each episode as soon as it comes out with us, and you can tell us why we're wrong on stuff, because, again, everything we do is engagement bait.
And you can see Bruce.
And yes, and that is worth it, because Bruce will be, we're announcing it now, the first ever guest on the new iteration of Forgot to Save. Turns out Bruce is a huge Stanley Parable fan, so in 2 weeks, expect he will be there. He probably won't speak, though. So if you don't hear him, know that he's here, right?
I don't even know what noises he could make unless I give him like a grape to eat.
Sure. He's constantly clicking on the keyboard. You hear him. He's playing while you're recording. Like, calm down, Bruce.
Oh my word! This has been fun. This has been a blast. Please do join the Discord. We absolutely love the conversations that we get to have with all of you when we're not actually recording this. It's just nice to have that offline kind of communication with all of you wonderful people. But I think that's going to do it for this episode.
Wait, before we finish,
yes,
we have hit another Forgot to Save milestone. A particular subject did not come up for the first time in one of our episodes.
Okay, is it true that they are the champions?
Okay, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we'll talk very soon.
Bye.